Wayne, N6DMR with BridgeCom technical support. Today I'm continuing my series on how to hook up a Wi-Fi connection to your plug-and-play new SkyBridge unit. And with that said, let's get right to it. Okay, opened up a browser earlier. For those of you that saw the video on how to use Angry IP, I'm not going to go over it again, but we established that the IP address for the first plugin of our SkyBridge to our internet was 168.1.10, which brought us to the Pi-Star digital voice dashboard. Now, this has my call sign on it. Yours will have yours. Yours will come preset. So as you can see, I'm connected up and I do have an internet connection, and the SkyBridge has been receiving some signals. This is the hardwired internet working with the SkyBridge. So let's go now and segue over to how to do a Wi-Fi connection. I'm going to go up here to the configuration tab right at the top right. Click on that. Now, on your first login with this Pi-Star dashboard, it requires a username and a password. Now, the username is pi-star, and the password, the standard password is raspberry with a P, RASPBERRY. We enter that. This is just my master password program. So once we've entered in the correct credentials, we're now in the configuration menu, as you can see. Now there's a lot of input in this menu, but almost all of it, practically, in fact, is all of it, will be actually pre-configured for you. So as I scroll down, you'll see that I have my call sign, my DMR ID, my location, quite a lot of information that is already pre-programmed when you get your SkyBridge. Now we're narrowing in on the wireless configuration setup. This is almost to the last box down in the configuration pane window. And as you can see, this WLAN is wireless local area network. They start numbering with 0, and the interface is down. So we have no wireless connection. Now, the reason that we can get at this dashboard and make these connection changes is because we are hardwired in at this point. So that is the first step: get hardwired in, move through the configuration, then we can set up the wireless. So I'm going to get started on this. And today what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my iPhone as the connection. So let me check and see if the iPhone is showing in my Wi-Fi. It's not. So let me go ahead and make a quick connection, or quick correction rather, and let me turn my hotspot off and back on again, so that it will actively broadcast the SSID, which we need to set up this wireless connection. So now I'm waiting for this to come up with my D iPhone hotspot. So it should happen in just a few seconds here. Let me pause here. Double check that I have my D iPhone up, and it is showing in my wireless connection. This is very important. I'm going to go over this some more later, but it's very important to know which wireless networks you're actually looking to get onto. So let's go ahead and configure the Wi-Fi, hitting that box that says configure Wi-Fi. And now I'm going to use this button here to scan for available networks. Now, the Pi-Star network and the Pi-Star firmware and the Raspberry Pi will only allow for 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi's to be connected. So here's my iPhone right there. I'm going to select that. Now I have to put the password in. And when the box turns green, it doesn't know that it's the right password. It's just telling you that there's enough digits in there to be an accurate password. So once we get this in here and set, we do a save and connect here. All right, so you see the wireless interface is still down. Let's see, did we actually take with that? Yes, we actually did connect to my wireless, or at least have it set up to be connected. So at this point, the only way to get into this wireless network with the Pi-Star is to reboot the Pi-Star. It will not automatically find a wireless connection unless it's booting. So that's a real important step. A lot of people miss that. They keep cycling through this, wondering why they don't get their interface up. So at this point, I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to remove the hardwired connection to my SkyBridge, the RJ45 internet connection to the SkyBridge. Then I'm going to remove the power to the SkyBridge and reboot completely so that we can see the wireless network. Now what's important about this while it's booting is that in order for you to see this in your PC, you have to connect to the same wireless network that you told Pi-Star to connect to, which means I need to be connected to my iPhone. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Put in my ID. This is one of the biggest mistakes people make, is that they don't understand that this internet connection has to match this internet connection to actually be able to see the dashboard in a browser. It doesn't mean that the unit will not connect okay, but you can't actually visually look at that connection without having to have it connected properly here. So I'm going to pause this because it's going to be about a minute or two before we get a really good reboot. Okay, so I've got the reboot, and if you'll notice that my screen here in my browser has not changed. The reason is we're still connecting or looking to connect through the hardwired IP address, which is now disconnected. Okay, so in order to find out what IP address is on my iPhone, I'm going to need to go back to Angry IP and scan this particular network to see where the SkyBridge connected to my iPhone. So let's go ahead and do that without any further delay. We'll open up IP scanner. It's full page. Hope that's okay. And we'll do a scan. Okay, scan is completed. Now there's a lot less connections on my iPhone, but as you can see, my Pi-Star is now connected to my wireless at 172.20.10.10. So let's make a note of that so that we can go in the browser and actually take a look at it. 172.20.10.10. And that's the IP address on my iPhone that I'm connected to wirelessly. So we'll go ahead and shut this down. We don't need it. And we'll replug in the proper IP address to relook at this. Then we'll hit enter. And now we are actually back into the Pi-Star dashboard wirelessly because the connection made itself while we rebooted the unit. So let's look at the configuration here, and I'll just do a quick thing here. We can see that we have some local activity, and we have the gateway is talking to the internet. So we're definitely hooked up to the internet, but the hard wire to the SkyBridge is not connected right now. So let's go to configuration. Again, it's a brand new login. We'll have to do our username and password. RASPBERRY. Many people forget the P. This is not important. It's my password manager program. Now we're back in the configuration window. Let's scroll down and take a look at our configuration for Wi-Fi. And lo and behold, our interface is up in green, connected to my iPhone. And yeah, I'm connected to 172.20.10.10. So this is a successful connection to the wireless on my iPhone. And so let's go back to the dashboard. It's very easy. Just use a back browser here. I'm going to go ahead. As you can see, I'm going to be looking and talking to Parrot. So N6 DMR, I'm testing on Parrot 1234. There I went out to Parrot. N6 DMR, I'm testing on Parrot 1234. Okay, so I know I have an internet connection. I know the SkyBridge is working. To give you just a quick brief on how this dashboard works, local activity is shown coming in, my call sign to the target talk group, which is Parrot. And in the gateway activity, the same thing happened. I sent a 3.6-second duration message to 9990, which is Parrot, and Parrot answered me for 3.7 seconds. And this is basic gateway activity. So if we left this gateway up and kept looking at it, I have a static connection to 3100 on my SkyBridge. You can do that in the Brandmeister page on your Brandmeister account. This is not gonna be part of this video, but as you can see, we successfully connected, and we are connected wirelessly to my iPhone. So hopefully it will go as smoothly for you as it did for me, and it should. I'm going to show you just a little bit of something that's outside the norm from what we are doing when we connect. But because remember, we're connected to my iPhone. So I plugged the cable back in to my SkyBridge. So I'm actually connected wirelessly and I'm connected to my iPhone. So the wireless or the hardwire connection and the iPhone. So the hardwire connection is on my router, Netgear 39. So I'm going to actually connect to Netgear 39. And we are connected. So what I want to do now is I want to actually use Angry IP Scanner, and I want to see if we get a connection hardwire to the Pi-Star. We'll let this move. And we're finished with this. And because I'm now hardwired connected to my router, I have Pi-Star connected on the 1.10 IP address as well. And we'll go ahead and take a look at that. So it's possible to have your SkyBridge connected to hardwire and Wi-Fi at the same time. And there, we just opened up on the 168.1.10, my router. Now remember, to get to this IP address and even scan it, I had to switch to this router. And that's why we can get into it with a hardwire connection. And to prove that it's still connected wirelessly, we'll go through configuration, run down, and you see my wireless interface is still up, still connected to my Wi-Fi. Now, what happens when you turn your Wi-Fi off on your phone? It's not a problem. You'll just lose that connection. We'll give this a few seconds. I'm going to pause while we're waiting. My iPhone is off. Okay, we're back. By turning the Wi-Fi off, my Wi-Fi internet is now down. Now, the next step is very important. If you want to reconnect to your Wi-Fi, like my iPhone that I just connected to, we have to turn the phone hotspot on first. We have to remove power from the SkyBridge, and then we have to let it reboot, and then it will connect again to wireless. So let's give that a try. I'm going to use a pause here. Back, my interface came back up because my Wi-Fi was turned back on. Typically, you need to do a reboot when this happens. In some cases, it will be automatic, but it's not always that way. So, but in this case, I was able to disconnect and turn off my hotspot, turn my hotspot back on, and the interface came up again. Sometimes that's not going to happen, and you're going to have to actually do a reboot when you try to reconnect your wireless. And what I mean by that, a typical use of your SkyBridge mobile or portable would be leaving your house, unplugging the SkyBridge, removing the RJ45 hardwire interconnect, going out to your car, turning on your hotspot, your phone hotspot, your whatever hotspot internet you're using. Actually, the new 2020s all have Wi-Fi built into the car. So, but anyway, once you do that, once you have that Wi-Fi system up, you will then apply power to your SkyBridge, and within a minute or two, you will be connected to the wireless internet. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect my hardwire cable again. Going to take just a minute to log on to iPhone. Now I wrote down my address 172.20.10.10 for my iPhone, and we should be able to get that come back up here wirelessly. Go to dashboard. All right, so what happened? We never disconnected from the original internet. So let's try this again now. 172.20.10.10. I'm purposely taking you through these steps so that you can understand what's happening. And my iPhone disconnected. This is typical of what's going to happen to you when you're trying to make wireless connections. So you have to pay attention and go back, make sure your PC is still connected to the iPhone. Go ahead and put in the correct IP address to the iPhone. And now you're going to get your digital dashboard. You're getting this digital dashboard through the Wi-Fi of my Pi Star. And we'll do a quick parrot test here to make sure that we're going to be actually connected. Now remember, I have the hard wire from my SkyBridge disconnected at this point. And I don't want to be confusing you, but I just want you to understand that if you run into some issues, it's not the end of the world. You just have to remember some basic things. So here we are, and I'm going to activate parrot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to activate parrot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that returned to me, so we're definitely connected wirelessly again. Remember, it's important, critical to know what internet connection you're on. So for my hardwire, in order for me to see the dashboard when I'm hardwired, I need to go in and log on to my hardwired router, which is 539. And after I'm logged on to that, I want to put in the IP address that's appropriate for that internet connection. So if all goes well, and in videos sometimes they do, I need to disconnect. So let's disconnect. Okay. Disconnect, 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 disconnect. Okay, open a new browser. Now we're going to do the 192.168.1.10 address for the hardwire. Helps when you plug the cable in. So there's another mistake that you can not make. The one that I made is not plugging the cable in when we wanted to go to this internet. Double check. See? Reconnected to my iPhone. Computers will drive you crazy. Let me connect back to my router, which is the hardwired now, and I did plug the cable in this time. And then we'll go ahead and log on to it there. And if you do it right and you don't make mistakes, it's going to work for you. So in this configuration, we'll go down. Because my iPhone is on, even though I'm connected with my hardwired connection, I still have a Wi-Fi up and running. The interface is up. The only time this interface will go down is if I disconnect from my iPhone wirelessly, turning off the hotspot. So hopefully this is a pretty detailed video of not only how to do it, but what to avoid. So just in a quick refresher, once we get into the dashboard here, everything is happiness. We have a hardwired connection. We want to go to Wi-Fi. We go into configuration, scroll down, we hit the configure Wi-Fi box, and we put in our Wi-Fi and password that we want to access. Do a save and connect. Now, because we reconnected, the interface went down. So now, in order to connect to this Wi-Fi for the first time, we would have to reboot the DV Mega. I'm not going to do that. I'm just trying to go through the steps as a summary of what you have to do. And lo and behold, makes a liar out of me because my iPhone was still connected. The SkyBridge did find it and our wireless interface is up. So hopefully this video will eliminate any confusion of how to do a Wi-Fi connection to your SkyBridge. Thanks for listening.